Modesty has become a lost art, and instead we live in a society where being half naked is essentially seen as not only normal, but it is what is promoted. And if you are not half naked, if you are fully dressed, you are fully clothed as a woman, you are likely seen as the outcast. You are the outlier. People cannot understand why it is that you would be modest. You know, this is something that my own wifey has gone through throughout her life. Modesty has become a lost art, and half nakedness has become the new norm, right? We live in a society where not only is being half dressed, or I guess half undressed, normalized, but it is even promoted. And if you're a woman who dresses modestly, who displays herself to the world in a modest form intentionally, you are seen as an outcast, an outlier. You're seen as an alien. You're called a Mother Teresa and probably every other name under the sun, right? You are shamed for being modest. You're shamed for covering up your most private of parts, for seeing your body as a temple. And this is something that my own wifey has experienced time and time again, right? She is a woman who fully clothes because that's the level of respect she has for herself and also her relationship. And I have noticed that there are large slews of women and even men who will shame other men, or will shame men, right? If it's women, they shame men. If it's other men, they shame, their fellow brother who desires for modesty, who asks for modesty, who has a respect for modesty, right? They're labeled as insecure, as jealous, etc., etc. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some who are over the top, overbearing, controlling, things of that nature. But that's not the conversation we're having here. We're not talking about genuine sociopathy. We're not talking about genuine narcissism. We're talking about a man who has a respect for a relationship, a man who is marriage minded, who wants to have a wife, right? Because a wife is intrinsic values first. Do they have a level of self-respect, dignity, integrity, honesty, loyalty, faithfulness, right? Do they have the ability to respect, ability to love, the ability to show affection toward? Do they have an openness of their heart to be able to be in a relationship? Are they in tune with their own feminine core in order to show up in that relationship as themselves? Then there are the external displays. And more often than not, if you have the intrinsic qualities, they're going to show on the outside. I'm well aware that somebody can just put on an outfit of modesty and really be for the streets. They could really be a whole entire 3 and an O and a 4, right? They can be a wench, a night walker, and be putting on this modest regalia. So I understand that. But again, that's not the conversation I'm having. The one I'm having is that we have gaslit people. And I'm one of those individuals who was gaslit into this belief early on in my life. And it's only with wifey at this point in my life where I finally was able to have a relationship where there was not only understanding, but she just was that way anyway. That's who she is. That's her core, right? She doesn't have to be convinced into modesty because she's modest. She doesn't have to be convinced into anything because that's the level of respect and reverence that she has for the holiest of matrimony. Whereas there are many women who will get into relationships and marriages, etc., and they will gaslight their partner just as they have been programmed and conditioned to believe that it is normal to have your behind all on Instagram, to have your biddies all on social media, to share your goods with all of the world, and to also at the same time believe that a man who will respect marriage, the union of marriage, therefore respect you in the context of marriage, is going to be perfectly fine with you spreading your assets on the internet. This is a grown folk conversation. To anybody who's already TikTok. To anybody who is ticked off, you are triggered, you are offended, you are feeling some type of way. You see me as insecure, problematic. He hates women. That's the funniest one, right? He hates women. Oh, I hate women because I want them to enjoy the full benefit of having a man who respects them. That's an interesting observation. But that's what happens when you live in a culture that has programmed you and conditioned you to believe what you believe. Now, I recently saw a video of a lady who was, I guess she was like the white or the pink Power Ranger, right? And she now owns one of the biggest, I guess, swimwear brands, more specifically like vintage swimwear, right? You know, when there used to be swimwear where women like were, it was like clothing, right? It started here and ended here. Now it's just like, you know, a string here and just like just lines right here with a little bit of fabric, right? That's what they call swimwear. And she had, I guess, a speech that blew up where she was breaking down the research of what this type of revealing, what you call it, dress. I can't call it dress. That's why my brain is on freeze, because I'm like, it's not being dressed. It's this level of exposure does to the mammalian reptilian brain of a man. And this isn't talking about just the creeps or whatever, but it shuts down certain centers of the brain and it triggers others. Go figure, right? It's nakedness. That's what we're talking about. What does nakedness do to the mind? Now, she not only talked about that, but also the historic context of these bikinis. And she said that the man who created bikinis understood and was well aware of the social dynamic and shift. As a matter of fact, he was so aware because at the time when he tried to push this design, no women would wear it. They said it was too much, it was too revealing, etc. So he had to hire workers, streetwalkers, legitimate streetwalkers, to wear those outfits and to model them and to start to push the propaganda, right? And also even the name bikini itself is like, there was a site, like a war site that was basically, you know, blown up, and it was named Bikini. I think it was when the nuclear war took place during World War II, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So it's also named after a place that was literally blown up. That's what the word bikini actually means. So there was a lot of intentionality as far as shifting the consciousness. And this is also happening at a time when you have, you know, the quote unquote sexual revolution or free love and things of that nature, right? People becoming more liberal and indiscriminate when it comes to their sexuality. You know, the body went from being a temple, went from being valued, chastity went from being something that was valuable to all of a sudden, you know, it was becoming outdated, and that's a thing of the past. And so now we find ourselves in a society where OF is not only accepted, but again, it's promoted and praised in specific sectors of our society. More of them than not, right? At the very least, it's made okay. It's normalized. You know, I'm not a believer that S work is work. It's prostitution, but it's not valid in the same way that a teacher showing up in a classroom. We're not going to put those two things at the same level. In the same way, we're not going to put a genuinely modest, a wife, in the same category as a streetwalker. We're not. I don't care how many types of delusions you create, how much fancy language and jargon, you know. There was an interview of a streetwalker, of a, what do you call it? A 304, professional 304. And she was saying how marriage is nothing more than S work. And I thought to myself, yeah, of course, that's the mentality of somebody who's in that space, who's that emotionally distraught and damaged. Of course you think that way. Of course you can't decipher what it is to have two people who have a mutual respect, love, admiration, and have a desire to create this relationship, right? Of course you can't. Of course you only see the transactional elements because that's all you can see. That's your perception. That's the, you know, the dim shaded glasses that you are wearing and seeing life through. And so for those who are grown men and grown women, and I don't mean that as an adult. You can be an adult and be extremely immature. I'm talking about those who have matured past those childhood ways. You have a different level of insight as to what it is to actually be in a relationship, what it means to actually have respect for the other. You know, that's why there's a lot of these single folks who are preaching messages of relationships, long-term relationships, marriages, whatever it is, right? And they're misleading and misguiding. It's like the blind leading the blind, right? If he don't like that you wear woo woo, if he don't woo woo, if he don't do this, then girl, You ain't got to settle for none of that. And then you end up with a dude who is seeing your cheeks hanging out. And, he's whining and dining. You think to yourself, see, I found me a man, being myself. And then he ghosts you after he gets the cheeks. Oh, men are trash. I can't believe these men. You can't believe No, you don't know a man. Because what you got was a male, an adult male, who was looking to clap. You are not in the vicinity of a husband. You're not in the vicinity of a man who is now marriage minded. You do not attract sea bass by using a salmon bait. You understand me? Let me run that back one more time. You do not attract sea bass by using salmon bait. You do not get a husband by putting out streetwalker. It's that simple. You must become and exude and exhibit the qualities and elements to be taken serious. That's why, look, a dude will give attention to, he will blow the back off of, you in your little scantily clad all day long. And you will think that you have a genuine relationship. And the woman that he will actually commit to is the one who is doing none of that. Uh-oh. Somebody said in one of my comments in a video I put out not too long ago, they said, man, brother, come on, bro. You're giving out all our secrets. It ain't no secret. This ain't no secret. This is what it is. It's not a game either. You can't pretend it. Like I said, you can put on the attire, but it's got to be from here. You have to do the inner work. You got to get rid of the inner 304. If there's a 304 in here, if there is a streetwalker within here, you have to heal from that. Because I'm telling you right now, as much as these people like to talk slick and they like to speak as if, oh, this is just who I am, this is how I express myself, in reality, it is damaged and wounded. In reality, it is looking for wrong attention. It is looking for any attention because you believe attention is love, when in truth, anybody can give you some damn attention. A crackhead, he's yelling on the side of the street. They're going to get some attention. Just because we're paying attention to you doesn't mean we're not saying to ourselves, he's lost his damn mind. So you can get attention for having all of that out. And you might even get some so-called positive attention. You're going to get hit up. DM, slide. And then what? I just don't understand. These men ain't serious. I can't find no boom, 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 boom. And again, is modesty going to get you the same level of attention? Probably not, but that's the point. I say that if you are overlooked by somebody because of your modesty, then that's a blessing. Because it is good to be overlooked by a demon. That you want to be overlooked by a demon entity, okay? You want to be overlooked by the sociopath. You want to be overlooked by the dude who only wants to clap. You want to be if you are marriage minded, if you are looking to create a foundation, a stable foundation, a healthy household, and that's the type of man you want to couple yourself. There are many men like this. I'm not the type of dude who's going to sit here and say, they don't exist. No, there are. Am I going to say there's more than not? Probably not. Because we live in a society that has enabled and made okay things that are not okay. We have promoted, we have endorsed, we have pedestalized degeneracy. And so there are certain things within our culture, there's certain things within our society that we have accepted that are deviations from what we ever were. If we're back in the 1920s and you go in the average household, black household, whatever, right? To be a streetwalker, to have a child out of wedlock was taboo. You were seen as an outcast. It was a shame and a stain upon the family. Today, you go, girl. Get that bag. You don't need no man. In less than 100 some odd years, we have seen, damn near 50, 60 years, if you really want to look at it, we have seen the degeneracy, the degradation of a people. In the same way, the bathing suit turned into a damn scantily clad, microfibers just on top of the areolas, just on top of just one little line between the crack. In the same way we've made that transition, we've also done that spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And I know that there is a group of people who will push you to believe that you need to accept this. And the reason they do it is because they feel shame. They feel bad, right? It's like for me, I say, look, if you want to be in relationship with a single mother, everything is contextual. So I don't have an issue with that, but you can't push somebody to be in a relationship with you because you're a single mother. You can't force and gangster your way. I understand that you feel that's the only way maybe you might be accepted or whatever, right? Like all of our decisions have consequences. And so you can't force somebody into dealing with you. It's like some of these women with these high body counts, they want to force men into seeing that as normal. They want to normalize it. They want to shame you into accepting it because they feel they're too far gone. Now, look, there's somebody for everybody. You with your high body count, you will find somebody, right? But don't try to force everybody else. Don't try to manipulate your way into, no, that man needs to be okay with it. No, that man has some standards. He has some value. He's not he's not for the streetwalker. So why should he just accept your bad behavior? You know, it's like being a crackhead and then now you want everybody to accept a crackhead. Well, everybody should be okay with crack. No, not everybody is okay with crack, and they shouldn't be if they don't want to be. If they want to be okay with marrying a crackhead, that's their choice. But you can't force that. And so that's why, like, for me, I had to address this thing of, you know, the shaming. You should do this and you need to do that. And you hate women. But look, we're not even hearing it no more. We really don't care. We are only dealing with, as marriage-minded men, we are only dealing with marriage material. We're only looking for wife. You understand? The rest of it, we could give a damn about. And if you think to yourself, well, why do I continue to attract these men that don't want anything but X, Y, and Z? Is because you don't have the level of discernment. You've lost your ability to be able to actually use that female intuition that you speak of because you lay up. Now your chemistry is all out of whack. Now you can't even think straight. You can't even see red flags. Red flags are turning into green flags because you're getting your back blown out. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a place where you're, oh, well, I mean, I think he's a good man. I think he's the man. You didn't even look at his character. Does he have a level of integrity? Is he who he is behind closed doors? Is in front of everybody else? You haven't even gotten to really be in relationship with this person. You went to the bedroom so fast. You're so addicted to that gratification right there, right? You're so addicted to that sense of pleasure, whatever it is that you're getting from that, a feeling of maybe a security. Okay, if I do this, then I'll lock him down. Not understanding you just attach yourself to a whole demon. He don't give a what? He was there for the cheeks. You're listening to words as opposed to how somebody's showing up. That's foolishness. Y'all used to have the most incredible levels of discernment, understanding. You could see through things, but that's because you kept this as a temple, and your temple was going to guide you and direct you. You had a connection to the Most High when you purified your temple, but instead you continue to just funnel through, just siphon through. Pop, 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 pop. Oh my God, these men, you shouldn't know what every man is like. All these men are. When you hear somebody say all these men are, you know what you're dealing with. How do you know every man? You shouldn't. You shouldn't know every man. You shouldn't know every woman. You shouldn't. That means you're going out there and just dabble. But again, this has been made normal. You know, that's why a conversation like this can even be controversial. If I was having this conversation in the 1950s, like I would have an audience of 10 million people just nodding their head along like, yeah. Today in 2025, the year of our Lord, 2025, I got people throwing hissy fits. I got people going off. I got you don't understand, but blah, blah, blah. I got excuses. You know what I mean? I got defense mechanisms. I got anger. I got, threats on my life. In the year of our Lord 2025, when you just tell a basic truth that just a few decades prior was common knowledge and was praised, you are crucified at the altar of public opinion. But I don't care because I'm beholden to the truth. Like some of these messages, I really don't want to be saying, but I have to. Like I really don't want to go there, but I have to. And that's because I am beholden to the truth. Period. I'm not beholden to your emotions, your feelings, your triggers, your this, your that. I'm not beholden to any of that, or even my own fears. I'm not beholden to my fear. It's not my fear, but the fear that I may experience. I'm not beholden to it. I'm beholden to the truth. and the truth has to be said. And that's all my psyche, my mind, body, emotion knows. That's it. That's it. That's all my soul knows, is to tell the truth as it is. Modesty, inner and outer modesty, is a necessity for wife, a necessity. And again, I speak to my brothers all day till I'm blue in the face. You have to be a righteous man, a man of integrity, a man of honesty in order to truly be that husband that you're supposed to be. There are no excuses. You call yourself a leader, then you lead. Then you be that person. You make no excuses for yourself. Oh, but she did this, but they're doing... No. I don't hear it. I do not want to hear it. You must lead by example. You must be the thing. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're still trying to dog out these 3 or 4. No. If you're creating 304s, this ain't even a conversation for you. If you're out there laying up and staying up and playing up, this ain't even for you. This ain't even for you. You're not even ready for this type of conversation. This is a grown folk. This is grown folk only. Reserved for grown folk. I'm going to put it on top. Reserved for grown folk only. Period.
I used to be afraid of the dark, a place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up. You know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises. You get to praising.